More than 100 Palestinians were killed in Israeli strikes across Gaza. Israeli attacks also extended to southern Lebanon despite an existing truce.
The man arrested as the lone suspect in the fatal shooting of 2 Israeli embassy employees was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder.
The Trump administration escalated its feud with Harvard University as it revoked the Ivy League school's ability to admit international students. At least 107 Palestinians were killed in strikes across Gaza as Israel pressed ahead with its new military offensive. Large plumes of smoke could be seen billowing above Gaza City in the north of the enclave, the site of multiple attacks. Palestinian health officials say Israeli strikes targeted Al-Auda Hospital, one of the 2 functioning hospitals in the north. Hospital staff say the strikes caused fires and extensive damage to buildings, infrastructure, and water tanks. Israel says it was operating near the hospital, but denied responsibility for the attack and says a probe into the fires was launched. Meanwhile, the UN says that it has distributed the contents of 98 trucks of the 200 that had arrived in Gaza to residents. The remaining trucks have yet to reach distribution centers, as the UN says the new Israeli security process to release trucks is hindering efforts. Spokesperson Stefan Diarich says the quantity of aid in Gaza is nowhere near enough to satisfy the needs of the population. The Israeli military agency charged with overseeing aid operations, Kogat, says that according to their own studies there is no shortage of food. Israeli strikes also extended to southern Lebanon on Thursday. Lebanese state-run media reported that several locations along the border were struck. Israel says it targeted buildings and facilities belonging to Hezbollah in a bid to prevent the group from rearming. Lebanon's Prime Minister Nawaf Salam condemned the attacks and called on the international community to pressure Israel into respecting the existing ceasefire agreement. Lebanon and Israel signed a deal in November to end cross-border attacks. Beirut says Israel has been conducting daily attacks since, violating the truce.
The man arrested as the lone suspect in the fatal shooting of 2 Israeli embassy employees was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Prosecutors said additional charges are likely as they investigate the incident as both a hate crime and an act of terrorism. After his arrest, the man told police, "I did it for Palestine, I did it for Gaza," according to the US federal authorities. The attack comes as Israel has launched a new campaign targeting Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The annual Greek large-scale forest fire field exercise, codenamed Dia Fire 2025, took place, involving all of the country's regional fire brigades. The exercise involved operational units from all the agencies involved. In Attica, the exercise took place at the location of Passa, in the presence of the Greek Minister of Climate Crisis and Civil Protection.
Αντιλαμβάνεστε ότι οι συνθήκες και φέτος θα είναι ιδιαίτερα δύσκολες, ωστόσο μπαίνουμε με καλές συνθήκες, δεδομένου ότι και ο αριθμός φέτος όσον αφορά το ανθρώπινο δυναμικό είναι αυξημένος. 18.000 γυναίκες και άντρες του πυροσβεστικού σώματος, μόνιμοι, πενταετούς και εθελοντές θα πέσουν στη μάχη, μαζί με 5.000 περίπου εθελοντές πυροσβέστες και 5.500 εθελοντές της πολιτικής προστασίας.
According to the scenario of the exercise, in the heart of the fire season and with a very high fire risk index, the mechanism has been put on high alert. From the fire station in Lavriotiki, intense smoke is detected in a pine forest near a campsite. Immediately informed, the Regional Operations Centre of Attica mobilises ground and air forces as well as water vehicles. Due to the strong winds, the fire spreads quickly and it is decided to evacuate the campsite and inform the citizens with a message from 112. Further forces from the police, ambulance, Red Cross and other agencies are then mobilised. Eventually, the fire was brought under partial control and the forces were gradually released.
The Trump administration has barred Harvard University from admitting international students in the upcoming academic year. The decision also affects the almost 7,000 current students who will now be forced to either transfer to another university or leave the country. The measure was announced in a statement by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said in a post on X that the ban was due to the university fostering an environment of violence and anti-Semitism.
We have an interest as a nation, as President Trump has spoken to quite often, that we have an interest as a nation for these universities that are supposed to be the gold standard to actually deliver people who are educated and can function in society and on campuses that encourage a learning environment as opposed to one of left-wing activism.
Noem also accused the Ivy League school of coordinating with the Chinese Communist Party on its campus. The U.S. agency says the university hosted and provided training to members of a Chinese paramilitary organization as recently as last year. The ban is the latest escalation in a feud between Harvard and the Trump administration after the school became the first in the U.S. to defy White House orders to limit pro-Palestine protests and eliminate DEI practices. It's also in retaliation for failing to submit records on foreign students who participated in the protests. Harvard called the move unlawful and said it's working to provide guidance to students. Secretary Noem said she will remove the ban on the university if it provides the requested records on foreign students within 72 hours. Germany, once the world market leader, today the sick man of Europe. Electricity prices are exploding, steel giants have temporarily shut down production to survive. Other companies are fleeing and relocating their production to Eastern Europe, China, and out of Germany. Entire industries are struggling, especially the automotive industry. Volkswagen, Mercedes, and BMW are cutting thousands of jobs. Made in Germany has become too expensive.
Bei energieintensiven Branchen wie Stahl und andere, würde ich sagen, haben wir noch 24 Monate Zeit.
One of the biggest problems, energy costs. The new Minister of Economic Affairs, Katharina Reiche, is also aware of this. She wants to subsidize industrial electricity with the state, but the EU is threatening not to participate. Reiche also wants new gas-fired power plants, but gas prices are higher than ever. Does the minister have the right formula to save the German economy?
Wer glaubt, dass die erneuerbaren Energien in Kombination mit Gaskraftwerken zu billigem Strom führen, der lebt in einer Traumwelt, weil die Leute, also viele blicken dann immer nur auf die Kosten quasi an der Solarzelle, am Windrad. Und vor dem Hintergrund ist Frau Reiches, zumindest zum Stand heute, Politik eigentlich die Fortsetzung der Politik von Robert Habeck. Und die ist aber nicht geeignet, ein Industrieland wie Deutschland nachhaltig und günstig mit Energie zu versorgen. Ich persönlich nach der Meinung fragen, was ich machen würde. Ich hätte selbstverständlich zum einen den Atomausstieg nicht so vollzogen und würde jetzt alles daran setzen, den Atomausstieg wieder rückgängig zu machen, indem ich die alten Kraftwerke wieder reaktiviere.
Also mit Gaskraftwerken alleine senkt man den Strompreis nicht ab. Die sind sehr teuer im Betrieb, das Gas ist teuer und dann kommen dann noch die CO2-Kosten obendrauf. Also das würde bedeuten, dass man so langfristig dauerhaft zwischen 150 und 200, also 15 und 20 Cent pro Kilowattstunde Erzeugerpreise in Deutschland hätte. Das ist zu teuer. Damit wird man nicht wettbewerbsfähig. Und tatsächlich eine Angebotsausweitung ist das Einzige, was gegen eine Energiekrise hilft. Und das besteht eben aus der Rückholung der deutschen Kernkraftwerke, aus einer heimischen Produktion von Erdgas und aus CCS, das ist die CO2-Abscheidung von Kohlekraftwerken. Weil wir haben für 200 Jahre Kohle, das wäre also im Interesse der nationalen Sicherheit, wäre es optimal, die Kohle weiter zu nutzen, aber dann eben mit den entsprechenden Filtern.
In any case, lights are already going out in companies. In 2024, Germany lost almost 200,000 companies, a record which will continue into 2025. The 1,626 bankruptcies in April alone surpassed figures from the 2008 global financial crisis. Germany is still the third largest economy in the world, but the future is not looking so bright.
25 years ago, the UN Security Council adopted a landmark resolution that addressed the disproportionate impact of war on women and girls and called for women's equal participation in peace processes. At least 200 representatives gathered in Brussels to reflect on the progress seen by the Women, Peace and Security agenda since its implementation and which challenges still need to be overcome.
Women bring their lived experiences on the table, on the Women, Peace and Security agenda. Peace talks, which includes women, they are more lasting, and it enables also an accountability to the agreements that would have been reached.
The resolution's anniversary is taking place in an increasingly complex geopolitical landscape marked by hybrid warfare and a time of assault on women's rights. On top of this, persistent institutional and societal barriers prevent women from fully and equally participating in peace and security measures.
Progress is there, it's visible, it's not sufficient. Each year, UN Women supports the member states when they come to the annual meeting of the Commission. And what we see in those meetings is that there are still barriers.
A rising global conflict, the growing threat of disinformation, and the lack of adequate funding and resources all pose significant challenges for women to equally and meaningfully participate in security and peace processes. The 25th anniversary of Resolution 1325 not only is an opportunity to celebrate and build on the successes of the past 25 years, more importantly, it calls on member states to reflect on which barriers it needs to overcome in order to fully and successfully implement the Women, Peace and Security agenda. Evelyn Dom in Brussels for Euronews.